Converting $10,000 to million is easy if you know this secret strategy by Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger kicked off Berkshire Hathaway's annual shareholder meeting on Saturday with 2 episodes. First, there was a video of Munger furiously struggling to open a box of See's Candies peanut brittle. When the video ended and both took the stage to a capacity crowd nearing 20,000 at the CenturyLink Center in Omaha, Nebraska, there was a box of brittle waiting for the 94-year-old Munger. Today we're going to talk all about why converting $10,000 to $1 million is easy if you know this strategy. So watch the video till the end, because today's video is going to be the bomb. Welcome to Investor Secret, your daily dose of wealth secrets. If you're interested in everything around big investors and their investment techniques, this is the place for you. Subscribe if you want to stay updated with all the investor secrets, predictions, and stay one step ahead in the financial world. Watch the video till the end and make sure to hit the like button if you want to be a millionaire within the next 3 years. Don't forget to enable all notifications to join our weekly cash giveaway pinned in the comments. Now let's get to our topic. Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger kicked off Berkshire Hathaway's annual shareholder meeting on Saturday with 2 episodes. First, there was a video of Munger furiously struggling to open a box of See's Candies peanut brittle. When the video ended and both took the stage to a capacity crowd nearing 20,000 at the CenturyLink Center in Omaha, Nebraska, there was a box of brittle waiting for the 94-year-old Munger. As Munger munched away and cracked open can after can of Coca-Cola, Buffett launched into a time-tested investing story. He held up an edition of the New York Times from 1942, when the outcome of World War II was still unclear. It was then that the legendary investor made his first ever stock acquisition, buying a few shares of a company called City Service. After, the stock fell by about a third before rebounding. Buffett, now wide-eyed about the stock market's inherent volatility, sold his shares for a small profit. The story, of course, was a setup for Buffett's main principle in investing, the power of compounding. He had invested the $114 he spent on City Services shares in the S&P 500 in 1942, and then done nothing. His holding would now be worth $400,000. If one were to have invested $10,000 in the S&P, Buffett told his audience it would be worth $51 million. Sometimes the Berkshire shareholder meeting can lead to big headlines. A few years ago, Buffett explained why he'd reversed course and become a big holder of airlines like United, Delta, American, and Southwest. His comments still are the bull case for the now consolidated industry. People always expect Buffett to tip his hand on how Berkshire will deploy its $100 billion plus in cash. But the Oracle has yet to announce an acquisition at his meeting. This year, newsworthy items included Buffett's full-throated support of scandal-plagued Wells Fargo and its turnaround CEO, Tim Sloan. "I like it as an investment," said Buffett of Wells. "Berkshire is the bank's largest holder. I like Tim Sloan as a manager. He's correcting mistakes made by other people. The takeaway? Don't expect Berkshire-led selling pressure in Wales." Other revealing items: Duracell, a business Berkshire picked up in a swap with Procter & Gamble, hasn't performed great. Heavy investment is underway, aimed at improving earnings. Buffett also beat back the notion that Berkshire would ever pay a special dividend to release its mountains of cash to investors. He argued that if it were put to vote, shareholders would support Berkshire's existing system of investing excess cash, historically at high returns. Apple, Berkshire's big recent buy, should be lauded for its simplicity and management's willingness to return capital to investors, Buffett said, and about guns, he refused to inject his own politics into Berkshire's operating practices. Most of all, however, the gathering can be a much-needed revisit of the simple principles of investing and common sense that have made the Buffett and Munger tandem such a success. One hears quips of wisdom such as this from Munger. Part of the Berkshire secret is when there's nothing to do, Warren is very good at doing nothing. Or Buffett's analysis of what went wrong at the Stagecoach. Wells Fargo is a company that proved the efficacy of incentives. It's just that they had the wrong incentives. But it was Buffett's story on compounding that took center stage. About putting that $114 or $10,000 in the stock market in 1942, Buffett said, "You basically just had to make one investment decision in your life. The most obvious and well-trod path to prosperity is patiently hitching one's savings to the growing productivity of American business. We have operated in this country with the greatest tailwind," Buffett said. "About investing, you can't really fail at it, unless you buy the wrong stock, try to time the market, or get seduced by some high-fee product sold on Wall Street." Buffett and Munger consider themselves to be teachers. Year after year, they dish out the same basic advice. Perhaps now's a better time than ever to pay attention. There's unease about the market, which sits near record highs. We're almost a decade into the recovery, unemployment is below 4%, and the Fed is hiking rates to cool things off. It's an environment when extra airtime is given to the voices who advocate getting out ahead of a correction, though market timing doesn't really work. Furthermore, despite Buffett's unimpeachable evidence on stocks for the long run, young investors are being lured into hot new ideas like crypto, which are the rage on college campuses. So much so, a question about cryptocurrencies even made its way into the Berkshire meeting. Is it a good investment? Here was Buffett and Munger's response, transcribed by Reuters. They're non-productive assets. It essentially will not deliver anything other than supposed scarcity. What does it produce itself? Anytime you buy non-productive assets, you're counting on someone later on buying a non-productive asset. It does come to a bad ending. Cryptocurrencies will come to bad endings. This year, Buffett's opening act on the power of compound returns over the long term seemed to be the emphasis of Berkshire's annual shareholder meeting. Investing legend Warren Buffett is known for his buy and hold strategy. The money is made in investments by investing, Buffett tells CNBC, and by owning good companies for long periods of time. If they buy good companies, buy them over time, they're going to do fine 10, 20, 30 years from now. Chicago-based Russ Gremmel, 98, did just that about 70 years ago when he bought $1,000 worth of Walgreens stock. He figured people would always need medicine and women would always buy makeup, the Chicago Tribune reports. He planned to hold on to that stock for a long time as an investment. Gremmel's discipline paid off. Today, his 28,000 or so shares are worth more than $2 million, and he turned over all of that to the Illinois Audubon Society to build a wildlife refuge. In addition to making smart investments, the retired lawyer has always been careful with his money. He's never had a mortgage. He lives in the same home where he grew up. His previous car lasted him 25 years, and he'd rather eat oatmeal at home than go out. Gremmel's frugality, coupled with the fact that he's never been married or had children to support, allowed him to retire at age 45. Up until Gremmel donated the $2 million, few people knew of his small fortune. "I'm a very simple man," he tells the Chicago Tribune. "I never let anybody know I had that kind of money." The investor isn't entirely an anomaly. One-time janitor Ronald Reed of Vermont secretly amassed $8 million thanks to similar choices: a frugal lifestyle and Buffett's buy and hold investing strategy. Reed, who left $6 million to his local library and hospital, owned about 95 stocks at the time of his death, many of which he had held onto for decades. As Buffett likes to say, it's pretty easy to get well-to-do slowly, but it's not easy to get rich quick. Well, that's it for today's video, guys. Also, we would like to mention that this is not a channel intended specifically to provide financial advice, and we do not ask you to invest in any company. This is merely a channel directed towards bringing educational content to your doorsteps. With that in mind, before you invest in anything, we recommend you do thorough, wide-spectrum research on the topic. And make sure to subscribe and give us a thumbs up. See you next time on Berkshire Secret. Bye.